Welcome back. One thing that I want to make clear is that VQT is not a self-help series. VQT is actual bona fide premium therapy delivered via a virtual platform. There are plenty of self-help materials, both books and videos, out there, and VQT is not that. It is simply real-life therapy, powerful, time-tested, clinically proven strategies facilitated by actual access to and communication with a real live licensed therapist. Now, first I'm going to let you in on a little secret that most therapists won't tell you. Much of what I say to you in session, I have said to hundreds of other clients hundreds of times. But hold on. Before you judge that statement, consider this. When something works well, you use it again and again, right? That just makes sense, doesn't it? And over time, you develop a style, a game plan, a certain way that you handle all similar issues. It's just plain good therapy to find what works and stick with it. In fact, that's just a good way to do life, period. So over the years, I've developed definite algorithms of thought, rhetoric, questions, and ideas that I pretty much share every single time I face a particular topic because they simply work really, really well. And I'm kind of anal about getting things right, and thus I only use the best of strategies that I can find or dream up. So when I find things that work, I write them down for future reference. Now, I've been in the habit of doing this since day one. Hence, I have amassed a pretty big collection of ideas, explanations, metaphors, and suggestions that work superbly. And yes, I use my best stuff every chance I get. That's what makes me good at what I do. It's a way of perfecting my own style that never stops. I always am striving to get better. Now, many of my clients, after taking in a session, ask me, wow, is there anywhere I can read more about this? And the answer used to be, no, not really. It's pretty much my own stuff. Sure, I could refer them to books on cognitive behavioral strategies or neuro-linguistic programming, but that's not really what they were asking. So about 7 years ago, I decided to write my own book. The Handbook of Cognitive Strategies. Now, it's not finished yet, but the first 7 chapters are published on my website. I haven't abandoned the book by any means. It's still a work in progress, but what really happened is that I fell in love with YouTube. Now, here's how that happened. When I purchased my first MacBook, I was eager to get to know everything it could do. I wanted to know what the buzz was all about. And I found out pretty quickly why people fall in love with a Mac. It comes with so many cool onboard features and operations, like the iMovie app, for instance. Now, I've always liked the idea of videotaping, but other than your typical home movies shot on the old over-the-shoulder bazooka-sized VCR recorder, I really hadn't done too much with video. So I decided one weekend to delve into iMovie and see what I could learn. You know, being a little old school at the time, I downloaded the user's manual and began trudging through the steps, trying to visualize the typed instructions. And after an hour or two, I was getting pretty frustrated. I really had gotten nowhere. Then, on a whim, I Googled help with iMovie, and a YouTube video popped up on the search page. Now, I clicked on the video, and 15 minutes later, I was in business. No kidding. Within 15 minutes, I was making movies. That's the power of video. That was really my aha moment. In an instant, I got it. Totally. And from that moment on, if I want to know how to do something, I'm searching for video on YouTube. Now, little did I know back then, but that was likely the birth of VQT. One thing led to another, and my handbook project was pushed aside for videotapes of me sharing my best strategies for a particular topic. Kind of a video book, if you will. Now, the original plan was simply to make these tapes available on my website to my clients who so frequently were asking for more information. They were simply meant to be a supplement to what I was doing in the room with my clients already. Rather than having to try and remember what I was telling them or having them furiously jotting down notes as I was talking, I could tell them to just sit back, relax, take it all in. They could watch a videotape version of what I was telling them later on my website when they got home. They loved the idea. But then a curious thing started to happen. Word got around. And soon enough, new clients in their first session were telling me that the only reason they decided to come in was because they had watched the tapes on my website. And what they had seen was so different from what they had envisioned therapy to be. At this point, I realized I was onto something, and the idea just grew from there until ultimately VQT was developed. The idea is simple, really. If a large percentage of what I'm going to say to a client regarding a certain topic is going to be the same rhetoric that I tell every client with that particular issue, then why not get that collective body of information on tape in a perfected format, and thus save up to 50% of my own time and my client's time, and money as well, by putting that out there for anyone to watch and to study. That way, I only have to be concerned with the other 50%, which is plenty big enough on its own. This is a huge savings, and it's very efficient. So, if you're in my office, you may or may not get my best performance of those general ideas, depending on the day. But if I take my time and get my best performance on tape, then all of my clients get my best performance every time, and they can watch it as many times as they want to. So not only do the tapes give a prospective client a good idea of what they can expect, they go way beyond that and give them up to 50% of what they would hear from me if they were actually in my office for, say, 5 to 10 sessions, and it's all absolutely free. How can I afford to do this for free? The real question is, how can I afford not to? Prospective clients love the ideas and the tapes. I don't lose anything. It's all gain for me and for my clients. You see, the remaining 50% is the hardest part, which is taking those general ideas that they would see on the tapes and those concepts and interventions and operationalizing them or customizing them and applying them to one's own personal unique situation. Now, the quicker we can get to that 50%, the better for my clients and for me. But getting there, by getting to that absolutely vital but general information and ideas and getting them out of the way on videotape first, that clears the way to get right down to the heart of the matter, the individual customization piece. Everybody wins. So the tapes themselves are the first phase of the process. Once you watch those, then we go on to the actual interactive process, which one can get started by simply sending me a text. That's it. Super simple. Give it a try.